Most Medicaid enrollees have no idea whether the state is running their coverage or a private insurance company is. That confusion is not a minor detail. It changes which doctors you can see, how you get a referral, and what happens when coverage is denied. Today, we answer the question nobody told you to ask: who actually runs your Medicaid?
Last episode, we covered what Medicaid actually covers: mandatory benefits, optional benefits, and dental gaps by state. Today, Nova here, we go one layer deeper into how that coverage gets delivered. There are two completely different delivery models, and about 2/3 of the country uses one without knowing the other even exists.
Liam here. The model most people are in is managed care. A private insurance company, think United Healthcare, Centene, or Molina, contracts with your state to run your Medicaid benefits. About 72% of all Medicaid enrollees are in this arrangement across 42 states, plus the District of Columbia.
Chen here. The other model is fee-for-service, the original Medicaid design. Under fee-for-service, the state pays doctors and hospitals directly every time they treat a Medicaid patient. There is no middleman, no private company, and no network restriction beyond what the state sets.
Isabella here. Whether you are in managed care or fee-for-service determines whether you need a referral to see a specialist, whether your regular doctor is even in your plan, and who you call when something gets denied. Stick with us through this episode. The practical differences are ones you will feel the next time you need care.
Small rotation today. Let us do a roll call.
Nova here, pattern recognizer with a spreadsheet and opinions.
Liam here. I came to chase down the part that does not quite fit.
Chen here. I would rather be slow and repeatable than fast and lucky.
Isabella here, the storyteller frame. Who, what, at what cost?
Big panel, big topic. Let us match the energy. Both the CERT. For-service is the original Medicaid payment model. The state acts as the insurer and pays each claim individually. A doctor sees a Medicaid patient, submits a bill, and the state reviews and pays that specific claim. No monthly flat rate, and no private company managing the process.
The practical upside is provider flexibility. In a fee-for-service state, any provider who accepts Medicaid is available to you with no network checklist required. If your family doctor accepts Medicaid payments, you can see her without worrying whether she is in a particular plan's directory.
That flexibility is one reason some states keep fee-for-service for certain populations. People with complex disabilities, for example, often have established relationships with specialists, and requiring them to switch to a managed care network would disrupt care they have built over years.
Nova. That is the key limitation of fee-for-service. The state knows you went to 5 different providers last month, but nobody is stitching that picture together. Managed care was supposed to fix that by putting one company in charge of your whole benefit package.
Managed care works on a model called capitation. The state agrees to pay a private managed care organization a fixed amount every month for every enrollee it covers. That amount does not change based on how much care an enrollee actually uses. The plan gets paid whether you visit the doctor once or a dozen times.
That flat monthly payment is what drives managed care economics. If the plan spends less in the capitation rate on your care, they keep the difference. If they spend more, they absorb the loss. That incentive structure is why managed care organizations focus so heavily on controlling which services get approved and how often.
The main tool managed care plans use is the provider network. The plan contracts with specific doctors, hospitals, and specialists who agree to see members at negotiated rates. If your doctor is not in the plan's network, the plan generally will not pay for your visit, even if that doctor accepts Medicaid from other sources.
The second major tool is prior authorization. Many services require the plan to approve them in advance: specialist visits, imaging, surgeries, and some medications. Imagine a patient who needs an MRI and learns the plan denied the authorization. That prior authorization step is where managed care most often clashes with what a patient and doctor want.
States do not hand managed care plans a blank check. Federal rules require that managed care plans cover the same mandatory Medicaid benefits as fee-for-service, that quality metrics are tracked and reported, and that plans meet network adequacy standards. They have to have enough providers to actually serve enrollees. Turns out the oversight layer matters a great deal. The Medicaid managed care market is dominated by 5 large companies. Knowing who they are helps you understand that your plan is not a government agency. It is a publicly traded or private corporation that has won a state contract. That context matters when you are navigating a denial.
The 2 largest by Medicaid enrollment are United Healthcare and Centene. United Healthcare is the nation's largest health insurer overall and holds Medicaid contracts in dozens of states. Centene operates under brand names like WellCare, Ambetter, and Sunshine Health depending on the state. You may not even realize you are in a Centene plan.
Molina Healthcare is the most Medicaid-focused of the 5. Unlike the others, Molina generates nearly all of its revenue from government programs, Medicaid, Medicare, and the marketplace. That concentration means Molina's entire business model is built around serving lower-income populations, which affects how it structures its networks.
The remaining 2 in the top 5 are Anthem, which rebranded as Elevance Health in 2022, and Aetna, now part of CVS Health. Both operate Medicaid plans in multiple states under various subsidiary names. As with Centene, your plan's branding may differ from the parent company name.
Chen, what this market concentration means for enrollees is that in many states you have only 2 or 3 plans to choose from, all subsidiaries of these same 5 companies. Shopping for a Medicaid managed care plan is less like choosing among dozens of options and more like picking from a very short list in your market. Jopper. Wait until you see how that affects your ability to switch.
Finding a doctor in managed care starts with the plan's provider directory. This sounds straightforward until you discover that directories are often outdated. A doctor listed as accepting new patients may have left the network months ago. The practical fix is to call the provider's office directly and confirm 2 things: that they are in your specific plan and that they are currently accepting new Medicaid patients.
Referrals are the next friction point. Most Medicaid managed care plans require a primary care referral before you can see a specialist. That means you need to establish a primary care relationship first, then get a referral, then schedule with the specialist. This coordination piece is exactly what managed care was designed to handle, but it does add steps for the patient.
On plan switching, federal rules give you a 90-day window after you first enroll to switch managed care plans for any reason. After that window closes, you can typically switch once a year during an annual open enrollment period your state sets. Some states allow additional switch opportunities if you can show your plan failed to provide adequate care.
Erica, one protection applies everywhere regardless of plan. Emergency care is always covered. Federal law prohibits managed care plans from requiring prior authorization for emergency services, and it prohibits denying payment just because the emergency room was out of network. If you are in a genuine emergency, get the care and sort out the network question afterward.
When your managed care plan denies a service or you have a problem with how care was handled, you have 2 formal tracks available. A grievance is a complaint about how the plan treated you, such as a rude denial letter, a provider you could not reach, or a billing issue. Kenny, an appeal is a formal challenge to a specific decision, like a denied prior authorization or a denied claim.
For an appeal, document everything before you file. Write down the service that was denied, the date of the denial, and the reason code the plan gave you. To bettors, federal rules require managed care plans to process standard appeals within 30 days. Expedited appeals must be resolved within 72 hours when a delay would seriously jeopardize your health.
If the plan upholds the denial on internal appeal, you have a right to a state factor analysis of information risk hearing, which is an external review by the state Medicaid agency, independent of the plan. That is where plans that denied care without a solid clinical basis tend to reverse course. Your state Medicaid agency can tell you exactly how to request one.
Isabella, stepping back to the big picture, managed care works well for people who want a care coordinator helping them navigate a complex condition. Fee-for-service works better for people who have established relationships with specific providers and need broader flexibility. Tomer, neither model is better in the abstract. It depends entirely on your situation.
If you forget everything else in this video, remember, 72% of Medicaid enrollees are in a managed care plan run by a private company, and that company's network and appeals process govern your access to care. Know whether you are in managed care or fee-for-service. Know your plan's network, and know you have the right to appeal any denial and request a state factor analysis of information risk hearing if the internal appeal fails. Drop in the comments. Are you in managed care or fee-for-service, and do you know which plan you have? Okay, it is quiz time. Let's find out what's stuck. Think through each question carefully before you answer.
We keep showing up because you do. Like and subscribe if you plan on showing up again.
About what percentage of Medicaid enrollees receive their care through a managed care organization rather than directly through the state? The correct answer is A. About 72% of Medicaid enrollees are in managed care plans as of the most recent data.
What does capitation mean in the context of Medicaid managed care? The correct answer is D. Capitation means the state pays a managed care organization a fixed monthly amount per enrollee, regardless of how much care that enrollee actually uses.
When a Medicaid managed care plan denies a service and you file an expedited appeal because a delay could seriously harm your health, how quickly must the plan respond under federal rules? The correct answer is B. The plan must respond to an expedited appeal within 72 hours when a delay would seriously jeopardize the enrollee's health.
Today's key takeaway: Medicaid is not a single program delivered one way. About 72% of enrollees are in managed care, meaning a private company controls your network and your first line of appeal. Fee-for-service offers broader provider access but less coordination. Knowing which model you are in is the first step to using your coverage effectively.
3 years from now, you will thank yourself for taking 10 minutes today to confirm your plan type and verify your doctor is in network. That small check is the difference between smooth access and a surprise out-of-network bill.
Next episode, the one income threshold that determines whether you qualify for Medicaid, and the one number that changes completely depending on your state. Most people guess wrong on both.
Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss it. The Medicaid series covers every piece of this program, from eligibility basics to nursing home rules, and each episode builds on the last.
Don't forget to like.
Keep studying.
For Professor Erica and the whole panel, I am signing off. Check Medicaid.gov or call your state Medicaid office to find out which plan you are in and how to reach them.